7:30 a.m., 103.9 FM, Jocks, Huntsville. This is the Off the Bench College Football Show. I'm your host, Kelsey. I'll find Richie, co-host Richie, sitting to the left of me.
Good morning.
Pops on the other side of the camera here. We have a actually pretty normal Saturday and spring and waiting for college football to come back. We're waiting for March Madness to kick off here in just a couple of days. A lot of news happening around the country. I mean, the combine taking place as we currently speak. We were just talking about it before the show. Tim Keenan looking to be a possible star of the combine right now.
I heard he was pretty quick,
making the ground shake as he's
Big
running.
Boy running real quickly. Ty Simpson looking to be the number 2 taken quarterback off the board in the draft. But here's the question I have for all y'all today. Who will be the better quarterback long-term, though? Ty Simpson or Fernando Mendoza? Because there's an argument to be made. For the first 8 weeks of the season, Ty Simpson was the better quarterback. Okay. Alabama had inconsistencies, run game, offensive line, stuff fractured. Okay. Indiana took advantage. They were a sound team. They were a way older team, but who would be the better quarterback long-term? Ty Simpson, if Alabama could have stayed stable in a couple parts of the field, Ty probably could have fought and may have been on that stage in New York in the Heisman Trophy room.
I agree with that. As far as your opening question as to who's going to have the better NFL career, ultimately you've got Fernando Mendoza is probably headed to Las Vegas, and they've been good not in the last 20 years. And so with Ty being the second pick, he's probably actually going to end up at a better team that maybe has some more parts around it. So as far as because with the NFL, it is all about the team. The whole draft is set up to make every team as equal as possible. Which remind me to bring up something about the Major League Baseball later. But with the NFL draft, the idea is the worst team gets the first pick, which means you're going to the worst team, which means unless Ty is taking the second pick overall, which I highly doubt, there's, a lot more needs with some of these, second through fifth, sixth teams that are picking, that he's going to go to a team that's probably a little bit better off and ready to go. Now, does that mean he pulls a Drake May and, in season 2 with the Patriots goes to the Super Bowl? No, but I think when the stats are done, if Mendoza can overcome and the Raiders can actually put some stuff together, I think he's actually set up for the better NFL career. Ty will probably end up with a better position starting, but long term, I think Mendoza probably actually wins that argument.
I'll come back to in your second part of your question, Kels, with you think about what Ty did the first 8 weeks of the season, right? Okay, and the difference between Ty Simpson and Mendoza, Bama got exposed on its running game. Ty was trying to carry that team with his arm, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you saw what happened at the end of the season. The other team started catching on to this, put a little pressure on him while he's trying to pass the ball because Bama didn't have a running game, and that was the biggest difference with you look at what Mendoza could do. Indiana had a running game. They had that front four in up front blocking for the running backs, and Bama just couldn't get it done. So, but I'll let go. I think they're both, like when you talk about like NFL type quarterbacks, I mean, they fit the image, right?
Right.
Yeah,
both 6'3", 6'4", whatever their heights might be. Okay. But they have that let's manage the game mentality, and that's what you need in an NFL style quarterback.
And I'm with you guys. And I think, looking back on this, we also saw the injuries with Ty Simpson, the cracked rib, the back injuries that took place. There's some unfortunate things that took place on Alabama's team where Indiana just kind of took advantage throughout the season, not necessarily on Alabama, but with the elderness of the team, how experienced that team was, right? And they could fit in all areas of the field. So this Ty Simpson, Fernando Mendoza argument, this is going to be one that I think is going to follow them throughout their rookie year of the NFL. I think that these two right here are going to be compared to each other for a long time, just from the two, very different backgrounds, but yet one time the same goal of that national championship, but one team just didn't have enough and could not continue to face competition day in and day out without getting exposed for their vulnerabilities. where Indiana just on the other side went all the way, right? But I think this is going to be one that's going to be compared for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, you look at those quarterbacks that come out of Bama that were managers, right?
Mm-hmm.
A.J. McCarron, I was convinced A.J. McCarron was going to be the next Tom Brady. I really was.
Yeah.
I mean, he just had that look. He had that feel. But when he actually got into the pro game, not this arena football stuff, arena, whatever that other league is, he's done really good in that other league. But I done at Birmingham, right?
Right, yeah, the USFL.
Or he did well. I don't know.
Well, he's a coach.
He's a coach, and he was playing.
He's a coach of the Stallions now.
Yeah.
Have you heard him talk to his team?
I've heard him talk on different YouTube.
Oh, he sounds just like Nick Saban.
Oh, well, why wouldn't you?
I mean, it's cursing every 5 seconds. It's why didn't you get that block? What's wrong with you?
When you hear
get
that,
your head out of your dairy.
When you hear that for 3 to 4 years constantly at every practice, that's what's ingrained in you.
That's what works, right?
So I'm not going to go through the whole list, but I'm going to give you your top 5 picks. Currently the Las Vegas Raiders are on the clock. Their biggest need is obviously a quarterback. They're going to take Mendoza. He is now a Las Vegas Raider for all intents and purposes, other than putting a hat on and signing his name. Number 2 is the hopeless New York Football Jets, who also biggest need is a quarterback. I don't see Ty working good in that cold environment.
Well, I mean, you've also seen the history of the Jets and Alabama quarterbacks, though.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. The 3rd pick, the Arizona Cardinals, whose biggest need is possibly a quarterback.
Kyler Murray's kind of that. Sometimes he's great.
He's kind of done.
But
sometimes he's hurt.
But as the Arizona Cardinals, could you take Ty with the 3rd pick in a dome environment for 8 games a year? You're in a dome. That division right now is just crazy good, with the quarterback play that's in that division. And then maybe Kyler Murray starts the first few games and gives Ty like the actual chance to kind of learn behind a quarterback. And then when Kyler gets hurt in week 6, as he's going to do, as he's been, historically done, Ty comes in and actually gets a chance. Number 4, the Tennessee Titans, that just need
everything under the sun.
Yeah. Good luck, Tennessee Titans. And then 5th is the New York Football Giants, who just need every defensive player to be named. And I'll go one more because the Cleveland Browns have the 6th pick, and they also need a quarterback. So you have.
How does the Cleveland Browns need a quarterback? Didn't they have like 4 guys there last year?
Yeah, but is there a starting chance? Shedeur Sanders is not going to – he's not realistically a guy that, hey, I get it, he made a Pro Bowl.
I was going to say
didn't deserve a Pro Bowl.
Pro Bowl.
He didn't deserve a Pro Bowl, okay? You have Gabriel there as well, former Oregon quarterback.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, he lost the job to Shedeur Sanders. So one to say, okay, Shedeur's better than him. He made a Pro Bowl. He didn't deserve a Pro Bowl. But is Shedeur Sanders realistically a long-term quarterback? Is Deshaun Watson still under contract?
Probably.
But my point with the Browns,
I think he's under contract for like the next 15 years. Yeah.
My point with the Browns is I mean, you've got to take that young talent, which they have.
Yeah.
Right? They've got proven young talent. You got to take that and mold it, right? Mature it, okay? Don't bring another quarterback into that scenario where all of a sudden all 3 of those young guys, they're all young.
Yeah. You've seen the fans that wear the jerseys to the Browns games and it's like they've put the name of every quarterback they've drafted over the last like 12, 15 years, and it's like 30 names. I tell you what, since I was going to ask you a crazy question this morning, I did very little research on this because I was going to try to, but if you were if you were Ty Simpson, and you could pick what team you were going to go play for, what team would you want to go play for?
As Ty Simpson.
Oh, I got this one.
Oh, man.
Because this kind of brings to the NFL. The reason I ask you this while you're thinking, the NFL Players Association released their report card for every team in the NFL this week. And some of them are quite interesting. The Green Bay Packers dropped from 8th last season to 21st with their report card.
Now, this is a Players Association that released this. So this is grading the organization, not necessarily the play on the field.
From my understanding, it is supposed to be an anonymous scoring of everything from the facilities to the locker room, the training, the wait staff, the head coach, the ownership. I mean, everything. if you were Ty Simpson, you were Kelsey, the second best quarterback in the draft. Where would you want to go?
Looking from the news that I've seen over the last couple of weeks, I would say the Colts, but their owner situation is kind of weird right now with because Irsay doesn't own the team anymore. I think it's his wife or daughter one, but now they're looking into the death of Irsay. Yeah. So, but with Quentin Nelson as the offensive lineman, as well as Jonathan Taylor at running back, that's a pretty solid group to start off with offense.
They ranked 17th overall. They got an A in team ownership and general manager. Their head coach is an A-. Weight room is a B. Locker room a C+. Home game field a D. That's their worst score.
Home, like the actual field,
like stadium,
the actual
Lucas Oil. Lucas Oil Stadium is like that bad, huh?
According to the players.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I mean, you could say the same thing with
we got
the
time
Niners.
to answer this one. What we got?
Yeah. We had time with the Niners, right? And the Niners, their field is known to have like terrible injuries happen on with I forget it's not Candlestick anymore. It's the Niners field. I forget the name of it.
The Niners got number 14 overall, A- for team ownership, general manager, and head coach. Their home game field got an A-.
What?
Locker room is a B.
They don't play at Candlestick anymore.
No, they don't play at
Play at
Candlestick.
Levi.
Yeah. The current stadium at Levi is known for causing ACL issues.
That's supposedly, according to some crazy Reddit thing, because there's like a wind farm like across the street, and there are people that think there's something to do with like the energy or something.
See, I thought it was the field.
Their worst score is a C- for training staff and training room.
All right.
Okay.
What you got, Pop?
So I got my Ty Simpson hat on, right?
Yeah.
You got to think about what I did in college football, man. I patiently sit there and I waited behind two of the quarterbacks in front of me, right, before I got to step onto the field, right? And so if he was to do that with the Dallas Cowboys, okay, hear me out here. Dak's probably got another 2 years in him, NFL, not for long, right? So he goes to the Dallas Cowboys and he becomes the Cooper Rush of the Dallas Cowboys for 2 years, sits behind Dak, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, he is the starting quarterback for one of the top brands ever in sports, the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, it went from the University of Alabama to the quarterback of the University of Alabama to quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys.
That'd be a huge move, but at the end of the day,
and I recognize that the Dallas scores they're going to be bad. I think I saw the same article.
22 overall, a B for team ownership and general manager.
A B? Hell, I would have given him an F.
A- for head coach. Their worst score, training room, a D.
Really? That blows my mind. The Star, man, all the money that Jerry World put into the Star.
So what I've heard those stories of there's Cowboys working out in the weight room, and Jerry installed these glass windows
so you could watch them
to look in, and the players hate it.
Do you know who was the number one team? They take all the scores and calculate it up. The number one team.
I'm going to say
Patriots.
I don't think it's the Patriots. Who wants to play up in the cold north like that? Let's go with the Minnesota Vikings.
You just gave him crap about playing in the cold, and
I went to
the Vikings.
They play indoors, man.
With an A for team ownership, an A- for general manager, B for head coach, an A for almost everything else. Their worst score is a B for special teams coordinator. That is their worst.
They do not like their special teams coach.
And he got a B.
Yeah.
Is the Miami Dolphins.
What?
Who was their head coach now? It's not McDaniel.
Yeah, they fired him. So I don't. Yeah,
I don't get that one.
They got training room an A, weight room A+.
Well, you're in Miami.
Ability to hit South Beach, is that on there? A.
But I will tell you, the Minnesota Vikings is number 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
I mean, Minnesota is one of those teams that is always there. I don't think in my lifetime, I can't remember a time when the Minnesota Vikings and its ownership and its facilities, minus when they played in the cold, where they just weren't there. I mean, they've always been there. Like come playoff time, they're always talked about. They're there.
Yep. The Las Vegas Raiders, since we did discuss them, they do have the first pick, and we'll probably take Mendoza. Number 6 overall. Their worst score, offensive coordinator, got an F. They hate their offensive coordinator.
Is it the Alabama Crimson Tide? I'm playing. You know, it all depends on who you talk to, whether or not you like Grub or not.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Guys, don't forget you can get in here on YouTube. Just send us a message right here, or excuse me, leave it in the comment box on YouTube at Off the Bench CFB Show. You can also listen to us on iHeart, wherever you're at. There's no more excuses anymore. You have a chance to listen in. You can listen in. You have the ability to listen in. Guys, coming up next year, real quickly, let me discuss this real quick, and we'll talk about it on the other side. The Alabama Supreme Court has denied Charles Bediako his request for an injunction pending appeal. So it does look like, as of right now, Bediako will no longer be playing college basketball. He won't get back onto the court for March Madness. It looks like his college career is done with, and it is over with. On top of that, LeBarian Philon is a wait and see tonight for the Tide versus Tennessee. We're going to talk about a little bit about that next here at 7:30 a.m., 103.9 FM. Jocks Huntsville, this is the Off the Bench College Football Show. 7:30 a.m., 103.9 FM, Jocks, Huntsville. This is the Off the Bench College Football Show. I'm your host, Kelsey Huffine. Co-host Richie's to the left of me, pops across the camera from us as well. Before we left off on the break, we were discussing the Bediako situation. He's now been denied his injunction, pending appeal by the AL Supreme Court. We also talked about as well as Liberian Philon is a wait and see tonight for the Tide versus Tennessee. But I don't think they're going to have too much of an issue. I mean, they've been scoring relentlessly. I think they have how many games with hitting 100 points this year now? Is that 18?
It was a bunch.
Yeah.
I will say this, two parts. One, this is a big game tonight because you want to be in the 2-3 matchup when we get to the SEC tournament, which is what, a week and a half away.
Yep.
You don't want to be the 4 seed. You don't want to have to run up against Florida as the second game. You want to try to catch them with their third game for the actual championship. That's going to be your best chance to take Florida this year. They have started to really hit their stride as a team. Alabama looks better the last couple of weeks than they did in that mid-season slump that they had. They looked really good at the beginning of the year, beating some big name teams. I, for one, as an alumni of the University of Alabama, would like this to be the end of the Bediako, whatever his name is, saga. Let's move on. I don't want any more of this back and forth junk. I think it's time for as much as Pops has pushed back on it. It is time for Nick Saban and Coach K and what was the coach for women's UConn's women's basketball team to head to the White House to break bread, to sit down and come up with an actual plan that works for all of this. Not just college football, which is obviously the biggest money-making part of it, but for all of it. I mean, we discussed a couple of weeks ago that there's a possibility of us losing the NCAA tournament in, what is it, 2032 or 33 or something like that?
Contract ends, yeah.
I've seen the SEC and the Big Ten basically released a 8-page letter this week trying to get Congress to not go with this share revenue thing that the rest of the NCAA is trying to push, and basically putting everybody, instead of it being the SEC and the Big Ten, putting college football, college sports together and bidding it all out, where you have to bid on all of it, which I think would actually make more money for the sport, would put more eyeballs and everything. And instead of Alabama always being the 6 o'clock ESPN game, they might be on big noon kickoff because Fox decided to pick that game up in everything. But as far as the basketball season, we are getting towards my absolute favorite time of the year. I always take the first Thursday and Friday of the basketball tournament off, and I will sit with a large deep dish pizza and will be very, very happy for about 13 and a half hours. And then I will sleep and I will wake up and I will do it again Friday. But this is a big game today. We need this one. So Philon being out, it could hurt. Tennessee is a really good basketball program this year. I would much rather have him on the off the bench, not to play, not pun not intended. But it's right now Alabama looks like a solid 4 seed for the dance. Mike could sneak up to a 3. I think if Florida was to win the SEC championship, they would probably jump up to a 2 seed, and Alabama could bump up to a 3 to take their spot. But the way this season has gone, a lot of these teams seem to be I think there's a lock for 3 of the 1 seeds. They could lose every game the rest of the season, and Duke, Arizona, and Michigan are 3 of your 4 1 seeds. I mean, it's a
Does the SEC have a 1 seed in it?
No.
Florida.
SEC may not have a 2 seed in it.
Yeah.
Florida, even winning the SEC championship game, may not get to a 2 seed.
Well, I bring that up because right now I think the way it looks with the the big dance, the SEC is predicted to have maybe 10 teams in it.
I've heard,
but yet we don't have a number 1.
We are very solid through that 4 through 7 seed.
Yeah.
Like I said, Florida's probably a 3 seed right now, could possibly get to a 2. Alabama's a 4, could possibly get to a 3. Arkansas, Tennessee, Auburn's in there somewhere. Like, at this point, are they a 7 or are they a 9?
Guys, let us know your thoughts here on Off the Bench. You can hit us up right here on YouTube at Off the Bench CFB Show. Let us know your thought on March Madness, where we're going to this season, how you think the dance is going to turn out this year for the SEC and for a whole lot of other programs around the country. Do not forget either the Off the Bench verdict this week. College football has changed. Texas A&M, USC, UCLA have left the pack. Oklahoma and Nebraska are fading. Money is up. TV deals are bigger. But what about tradition? Has conference realignment permanently damaged rivalries? Yes, some things can't be replaced, or no, new rivalries will take over. Drop your verdict, and we'll read it live right here on Off the Bench. 7:30 a.m., 1039 FM, Jocks, Huntsville. This is the Off the Bench College Football Show. It is a sunny 55 degrees, I think, right now. Somewhere close in there. We're supposed to get up to the 70s here today in North Alabama for a very quaint, nice Saturday.
Yeah.
I'm excited for it. Quaint. Could be quiet. I don't know.
Quiet.
Quiet,
Okay.
quaint.
All right. I don't know if that's a choice of words I would have used. Like, okay.
I mean, you got some really good basketball games on today. I know we spoke more basketball in the last segment than we have in the last while.
Last year of the show.
Yeah. But I mean, there's some really good games on today. But we're a week away from the little conferences that could putting their tournaments on, and then the big boys get to take the spotlight for a few days, and then.
So that Florida game in Arkansas, is that in Fayetteville, or are we talking Gainesville?
It's in Gainesville.
It's in Gainesville. So Arkansas gets to go on the road. So Calipari gets to take those guys against the Giants at Florida. I mean, they're just big. They're big and low.
You could. I think Alabama, Tennessee is the 5 o'clock game. Florida, Arkansas is the 7:30 game. At the end of the day, you could have. I don't think it's a guaranteed lock, but for the most part, you would have your seeding
for the SEC tournament.
The SEC tournament.
Yeah, and I know the big deal with the SEC tournament is, you don't want to play that first day, right? So you don't want to be in the bottom 8, I think it is, or bottom 9.
As an Alabama fan, I wouldn't know anything about that.
Well, I mean, no, I mean, we've said this before. I grew up in Kentucky, so I will always be a diehard Kentucky Wildcat basketball fan. I crisscross applesauce my grandfather's floor watching the Kentucky Wildcats play basketball. So as a Kentucky Wildcat fan, I wouldn't know anything about that first day either, but I think the Wildcats are going to fall into that first day this year.
I was going to say, if we have any Auburn fans out there listening, they could tell us how that first game is.
Yeah,
I think they've played in it every year.
So real quickly, as Pops is discussing his fanhood for the Kentucky Wildcats and Bama gear.
Yeah, I know. I know there's some people out there going, man, it must be nice to be a Cowboy football fan, Bama football fan, Kentucky Wildcat basketball fan. And by the way, I'm a St. Louis Cardinal baseball fan. I mean, I'm not one of those Braves people.
Join us next week on the bandwagon.
No, I've been here for 20 years, man.
Well, we just pull for the best teams every year. It's fine.
All right. Also, real quickly here, before we get into some of the proposed NCAA rule changes that could take place this next season, real quickly with you, Richie. With knowing your past arguments toward the college football playoff, if you were to see a Cinderella team this year in March Madness, which it's not as rare as it's not as rare, right? Does this connect you to college football, and does it push you to say we need more teams? Because in college basketball, there was a Cinderella team, so now you think there could be one in college football?
So, no. In college basketball, I want a Cinderella team to make it past the first weekend, and then I want them to get their butt just wiped off the map.
So you don't want another Loyola Chicago?
I
made it to the Sweet 16, if I remember right.
Correct. I want them to make it to the Sweet 16,
yeah,
and then I want them to just get annihilated.
And the networks love it.
And the networks love that because that gives them a whole week to talk about the little engine that could. Rest in peace, Sister Mary, since you brought up Loyola Chicago. So to me, that's the whole fun of it. But when it comes down to the Elite Eight, the Final Four, I want 1s and 2 seeds. I want, maybe a 4 seed that's gone on a run and everything and made it, hopefully this year that 4 seeds the University of Alabama. But no, I don't want the little engine that could to make it to the Elite Eight or the Final Four. And look at North Carolina State 2 years ago. Their head coach was fired. They were going to let him coach out the rest of the season. His contract stated for every tournament game they won, it added a year to his contract. They went on a run and won the ACC tournament, which added 1 year to his contract for doing that. They won the 64, 32, 16, 8, and made it to the Final Four. where they got just absolutely boat raced by Purdue.
He had that big man, I forget his name, big
Yeah.
boy.
And you think about it, they wouldn't have even made the SEC. I mean, the NCAA tournament if they would not have won the ACC that year.
Correct.
Yeah.
They had to add 5 years to his contract. They'd already fired him and then had to pay him out an additional 5 years.
Isn't this isn't that the team that had the manager that was so popular? Or the one that ended up going to McNeese State afterwards.
Yes.
Was he on NC
with
State
the boom
first?
box and everything?
The boom box?
Yes.
Yeah.
And he had
He's back though. I think he's back at NC State.
Oh, I didn't know that.
There was some kind of weird thing going on with his NIL deal as the manager at McNeese State, so he left and came back. All right.
Anyway,
we got to move on. Moving on from college basketball this morning as we get into the offseason talk of college football and some of the rule changes that have been proposed. So the NCAA has proposed some stiff penalties for programs that add transfers outside the 2-week transfer portal window. So they have proposed basically, well, let's back up a little bit. They have recommended its Division I cabinet adopt emergency legislation to address situations such as Ole Miss adding former Clemson transfer signee Luke Farrelly. Okay, this is going back from when Dabo Swinney and, of course, Pete Golding were going back and forth about blatant tampering going on with both the programs. Well, Dabo called out Golding for openly tampering with his players. So should the similar situation occur after this emergency legislation is approved, programs found guilty of violating the transfer portal window would face harsh penalties, including a multi-game suspensions for involved head coaches, a multi-million-dollar fine, and the loss of roster spots. The NCAA D1 cabinet next meets in April when it could vote to make the emergency legislation effective immediately. Attempts to circumvent the transfer window process is an issue for the sport. That was said by Georgia Athletic Director Josh Brooks, who is head of the Oversight Committee calendar subgroup. He also said in the release, "We want to let everyone know that this is not going to be allowed and that the committee wants to protect the transfer portal window that has been established."
Hey, can I come back with this? I want to put a foot stomp on this.
It's almost like the NCAA is getting its bite back.
Okay, and here's the foot stomp. When you say suspension for a few games, it's not 1-2 games. It's 6 games suspension for that head coach.
Mm-hmm.
You know what this sounds like to me.
But hear me out here. The fines, 20% of the total football budget. When you say millions of dollars, think about what 20% of the total budget would be at the University of Alabama.
Is this a discussion to take it out of the NIL fund or the football budget?
What it says here is it's fines equal to 20% of the football budget for the offending school.
That's a bigger bite than
that is a huge bite. You take 20% funding out of a school like that, and Oregon, Bama, Notre Dame, Georgia,
I hear you.
Ole Miss, Clemson. Yeah.
Okay. You ready? You good?
Oh,
did you get it out? Did you get it off your chest?
No, I got it off my chest. I'm just saying that the NCAA is trying to get a bite back, man. And
sure. Yeah. Is that what you got? This is like you getting the flu and me giving you a Band-Aid to put over the spot where you got your flu shot.
You're going to equate a 20% of a football budget a Band-Aid?
First of all, never in the history of history is this going to pass. And instead of actually solving the actual problem, which is the calendar, and us actually having set dates for things.
We do have a set date for the transfer portal, but there's actually nothing that actually says you have to follow these set rules. It's kind of just a hope and pray.
Then you don't have rules.
Hold on. This gets rid of the hope and pray.
Right.
If you're putting in a penalty, this is a stiff penalty saying you have to go in through these window dates. Or if you go after it, then we're taking control and we're going to hurt the program so much that it's going to prevent you or it's going to scare any other team from doing it in the future.
Yeah, they're not going to do it again if you take 20% of the budget.
You just wait. This is going to turn into a team that is, this is not a death penalty, but you don't use the death penalty in college football anymore. Yeah. Hadn't been used in years. You want to get as close to a death penalty as you can and completely rip a program for a couple of years.
This is no different than the NFL arguing and complaining and gnashing of teeth about getting rid of the tush push, and then we got all the big dogs in the room, and then they voted to keep the tush push. this is never going to pass. This is a complete joke of some goober at the NCAA office is trying to find their false teeth in the jar beside the nightstand, and this will never pass.
But if you try and say that this is going to be just an issue that just continues going on and you don't have a fix for it, why not go with this?
Well, because the fix would be actually fix the calendar, to actually sit down and look and fix the calendar.
How does fixing the calendar fix tampering by a coach?
Because once the calendar is set, and
the calendar's already set.
Right, but it's not. The transfer portal window is just an idea that they threw a couple of weeks out there. With the way that the transferring and going to class and when you have to register for classes and everything, none of that actually has any type of actual solidified. And you can, just because you join the transfer portal during that window doesn't mean you come out of the transfer portal at that window. And then if a coach gets fired, it opens the window back up for you. And if your coach leaves, it opens this window up and that window up. If you actually solved the calendar problem and said, this is it, and once you are signed with a team, you cannot join the transfer portal again until it reopens. That's all you have to do. Why do I care if you fine a team 20%? If I say, Kelsey, if you sign with this team, that's your one sign. You can't join the transfer portal again until the next 2-week period, which is in 360 or 351 days.
Fixing a calendar does not fix the deal that the head coach of the Ole Miss did with Clemson, with a guy who's already signed at the school. Right. He's already in classes, and the head coach is texting this young man in Texas. Fixing a calendar doesn't fix that behavior.
It does. Okay? If that nothing's going to ever fix that behavior.
Okay, well, but then these rules fixes the behavior. It says, Coach, if you do this, we're going to fine you 20% of your football budget. We're going to take away 5 scholarships for the following year. Okay, and you're going to get suspended for 6 months.
Right.
So that's an enforcement on fixing a behavior that the Ole Miss coach did against Clemson. Okay, that doesn't the changing the calendar does not fix the behavior. This targets
what I'm saying with what I'm saying with the calendar is that you say that it is a solid 2-week period, Sunday to the following Sunday. You know, the same as the Olympics. You know, opening ceremonies on Friday, closing ceremonies are the following. 2 Sundays later, and say once you enter the portal. And you're in the portal and you sign with a team, you cannot rejoin the portal because all they have to do then is decommit from that school, withdraw their stuff, and then they're free to go to any school they want to at that point. It doesn't even have to be in the transfer portal. Any kid at any point in time can just drop out of classes at a university and start signing up for classes at another university.
We saw it with Xavier Lucas at Wisconsin, and he re-enrolled at Miami.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you actually solve this problem, you're not running into, like, with the calendar the way it is, signing day is now a joke. It's not. It used to be such a big deal, that first Wednesday of February, and every talking head from Colin Cowherd down would discuss signing day.
Signing day is a shell of what once was, but then again, signing day didn't really include the transfer portal.
Right.
That was all for senior. That was all for seniors in high school. But I think this different era, you have to constitute a rule like this to actually get some bite back and say, hey, if you do this, we are going to make you a shell of a program. Does a recruit really want to commit to a school that's going to lose his coach for 6 games? Does a recruit really want to commit to a school that is not going to have 20% of their football budget, and it's not going to be able to get, a lot of things done, and the opportunity is not going to be there from where it could have been at a different school? Real quickly, guys, we do have to take a quick break. 7:30 a.m., 103.9 FM, Jocks Huntsville. This is the Off Bench College Football Show. We'll be back in just a minute. 7:30 a.m., 103.9 FM, Jocks, Huntsville. This is the Off the Bench College Football Show. I'm your host, Kelsey Huffine. Co-host Richie sitting to the left of me, and Pops across the camera from me. Hey, guys, this is the last segment. We're going to be on YouTube, but if you want to still follow along and listen to the show, you can still do so. You can hit us up on iHeartRadio at 7:30 a.m., Jocks, Huntsville, or if you're local here in North Alabama, 103.9 FM, Jocks, Huntsville, right on that radio dial. All right, so we've been discussing rule changes within college football, right? Proposed rule changes. We were discussing a penalized version of what tampering would look like if it was enforced by the NCAA. It is a harsh rule. It is one that would keep teams from doing this most likely. Richie, you're openly against this. You don't think it'll pass?
I think it's if it passes, yes, it will do that. It will stop the tampering. My problem is I don't think it'll pass because ultimately, if they pass this, who's going and knocking on Ole Miss's door and asking for the check? Because the commissioner of the SEC is not going to do it. The commissioner of the Big Ten's not going to do it. The two people who actually have power in this sport are not going to do it. And it goes back to what I've said. Is it time for, Trump or Vance or whoever or Congress or insert somebody with some power here to bring Nick Saban and Coach K and sit down and break bread and go, let's fix this problem?
Well, I don't think that you actually put Nick Saban on a governing board like that. I don't think he would be the person knocking on doors. I don't think any of these guys, these retired coaches, okay, if I would argue that, and I have no basis for this, okay, Nick Saban, Coach K, none of these guys actually think, let's go get the government involved and let them crack down on this, and we'll be a part of it. I think it would actually be a better scenario if Coach K and Nick Saban, these former very, very high-level coaches, if they got involved with this, I think it will not be on a governmental level. So I think this is where the NCAA and Coach K and Nick Saban all get together.
I think they'll be brought in as the heads of state for the actual system.
What's the two standards you got right there with Nick Saban and Coach K? What are they?
They're two of the best coaches ever.
And they have very defining standards.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And they follow rules, right? Okay, you didn't hear about Nick Saban or Coach K getting busted for X, Y, and Z. There was all kinds of allegations, right? But they followed rules. They had a standard, okay? And that's what the NCAA is trying to do here with tampering, okay? They're trying to create a standard and create some rules around it. And if you break them because of the behavior of a coach at Ole Miss, okay, as he's tampering with a student who's in class at Clemson already, sending them text message, that is a behavioral issue. Okay, in my opinion, again, it still has nothing to do with the dang calendar. Okay, that's a behavioral issue by a coach. Okay, and if you're going to have standards, the Sabans, the Coach K's, I can't believe I'm saying this, whoever else is being proposed for that sports commission, Tiger Woods, whatever, you have standards and rules. And if you break the rules, you endorse the rules. Who's going to come get that check? I don't know, Richie.
I mean, if you go to that point, I can tell you who's going to get that check.
Okay, but who's coming to get the catch? But I would know the NCAA has the ability to suspend players and minimize scholarships, and that's what this rule would do.
But if the NCAA, okay, I'll play devil's advocate here for a second. Because I think if you got to the point where the federal government was involved, you know who goes and knocks on the door and asks for the checkbook?
Why in the hell do you want politics and sports, dude?
Because it's always been. The NFL had to get an exemption. That's why the NFL is such a big deal and why they're able to do the contracts they do. The NBA has legal standing and got an exemption for the what's the word I'm looking for here? But they've all had to, and it's time for the NCAA to realize, oh, we're the second most watched sport, and yet we're only getting 8th place money. It's time to step up and do something.
Now,
it involves that.
There's a point where I agree with you, but at the same time, if a governmental body has to step into a sport to save it, that sport has initially failed. 7:30 a.m., 103.9 FM, Jocks Huntsville. Guys, this is it on the YouTube side. If you want to follow along with the show, hit us up on iHeart, 7:30 a.m., 103.9 FM, Jocks Huntsville. Guys, we will catch you guys on the other side, continuing to talk about the proposed rule changes in college football.